Perhaps you've heard this before. You're very quiet. Or you don't talk much, do you? And on the outside, it might even seem like you're just there, present, calm, maybe even distant. But the truth is different. While people see silence, your mind is racing not anxiously, but strategically, connecting the dots, anticipating developments, organizing information that no one else has noticed yet. This way of being carries a rare and little understood superpower, the ability to process the world in deep layers while the body remains serene. It's not shyness. It's not disinterest. It's silent intelligence in action, a way of being in the world that anticipates, protects, resolves, and understands long before others come close to the same conclusion. This video is not a diagnosis. It's an invitation for you to calmly and clearly recognize how your body and mind work together in a unique way, and how this, far from being a flaw, can be one of your greatest strengths. If any part of this behavior seems familiar to you, share it in the comments. This is a quiet space to recognize yourself and better understand your own superpowers. The silence of her body while her eyes had already scanned the entire room before she sat down. You walk into a place, a party, a meeting, a coffee shop with friends, and before you even choose where to sit, your eyes have already done a complete mapping. Who's where, who's talking to whom, which corner has more or less movement. You don't think about it consciously, but your body already knows. That spot over there, Niazwal, with a wife, is the best. While other people arrive and sit in the first empty seat, you linger a little longer, not out of insecurity, but because your mind is already processing the entire environment. Where the light hits, where the sounds are coming from, who might call you, who might ignore you. All of this happens in seconds, but it feels like you're just looking around. This superpower of instant environmental reading is often mistaken for shyness or hesitation, but it's not. It's spatial and emotional intelligence working at high speed. You're not afraid to enter. You're ensuring that when you enter, you already know exactly how the environment works and how you can move within it safely and with control. How can you breathe slowly in meetings, but have already predicted 3 different outcomes to the conversation? You're sitting there, listening to someone talk. It could be at work, in a family conversation, or even an argument between friends. Your face is calm, your breathing is slow, and from the outside it seems like you're just following along. But inside, your mind has already run through 3 different scenarios of how that conversation could end. If so-and-so says this, so-and-so will react like this. If someone changes the subject now, the tension decreases. If no one intervenes, in 2 minutes things will escalate. You're not guessing, you're calculating. Based on patterns your brain has already effortlessly recognized. Ton of voix, body language, pauses, glances, everything becomes information. This superpower of anticipating developments makes you someone who is rarely caught off guard. You already knew it was going to turn out this way. You had already thought of the solution before the problem appeared. And while others react impulsively, you are already 2 steps ahead, not because you are anxious, but because your mind works that way, always mapping out possible futures while the present is still happening. The way you stir the glass while your mind has already formulated the perfect response that you're not going to say yet. Someone asks you a direct question or throws out a controversial opinion in the middle of a conversation. Everyone looks, waiting for your immediate reaction, but you don't respond right away. You fidget with your glass, adjust your position in your chair, maybe give a half smile, and meanwhile, inside, the answer is already ready, clear, well-structured, complete. But you don't let go yet, because your mind not only constructed the response, It also assessed its weight, the tone, the right moment to speak. You know that if you say it now, it might sound aggressive. If you say it that way, it might generate unnecessary conflict. So you hold back, internally reformulate, and wait for the perfect timing, or simply decide that it's not worth spending energy on it. This superpower of verbal and emotional control makes you someone who rarely regrets what you've said, because you don't speak impulsively. You speak by conscious choice, after processing not only the content, but the entire context. And when you finally open your mouth, it's usually surgical few words, precise impact. Silence isn't empty, it's strategy. If you've noticed this way of reacting in yourself or someone close to you, right, this sounds like me. This helps this video reach more people who think and feel similarly. Your body remains still, but you've already mentally tested 5 solutions to any problem before anyone else even realizes there is one. You're in a situation that's starting to get awkward, a tense atmosphere at lunch, a conversation that's stalled, a work project that's about to go wrong. The other people are still trying to figure out what's going on. Butil, you saw the problem 3 minutes ago, and since then you've mentally tested 5 different ways to solve or circumvent it. Your body remains still, perhaps even relaxed. No one suspects that inside you've already been simulating. If I say this now, the tension will decrease. If I leave discreetly, no one will notice. If I change the subject, the atmosphere will improve. If I wait 2 more minutes, someone will ask the question I already know is coming. All this happens in silence while you drink coffee or use your phone. This superpower of anticipatory problem solving makes you someone who rarely panics, because when chaos finally arrives for others, you've already mentally navigated it and chosen your path forward. You don't react. You act based on strategies no one saw you developing, and often people don't even realize that you were the one who averted disaster before it actually happened. How do you blink more slowly when you're processing 10 variables that no one else saw in the situation? There are times when someone tells a story, explains a plan, or describes a problem and you just sit there, watching, blinking slowly, as if calmly absorbing each word. But what's happening inside is quite different. Your mind isn't just listening, it's cross-referencing information, checking for contradictions, identifying what wasn't said, connecting it to things you already knew, while the person is still talking. You've already noticed 3 inconsistencies in their story, identified the hidden motivations, and understood what they really want even if they themselves aren't clear about it. You don't interrupt. You don't correct them. You just stay there with that calm look, processing in layers that no one else is seeing. This superpower of deep reading makes you difficult to deceive, not because you're distrustful, but because your mind works on multiple layers simultaneously. You see patterns where others see only isolated events. And when you finally speak, your perception is often so accurate that people wonder, how did you notice that? Simple. You were paying attention not only to what was said, but to everything that was happening around you. The superpower of appearing distracted while your mind has already connected 3 parallel conversations and found the pattern. You're in a group where several people are talking at the same time. It could be a family lunch, a gathering of friends, or even a work meeting. Someone comments on one topic here, another responds about something else there, and some people are laughing at a joke in the corner. It seems chaotic, but while everyone else is focused only on their own conversation, you're taking in everything at once. Your mind doesn't just choose one path to follow. It picks up pieces of each conversation, puts the information together, and suddenly you notice a pattern that no one else saw. So-and-so said this a little while ago, So just unintentionally confirmed it. And that reaction over there in the corner ties the whole story together. You connect the dots while your face remains neutral, perhaps even slightly distracted. This superpower of simultaneous processing makes you someone who understands complete contexts while others are still stuck in fragments. You don't need to ask many questions. You don't need everything explained to you, because you've already put the pieces together yourself, silently, while everyone thought you were just there. Present but distant, but you were more present than anyone, just at a different frequency. Your body has learned to conserve physical energy because it spends it all anticipating scenarios that haven't happened yet. You realize that sometimes you prefer to stay still, sitting quietly in your corner. It's not laziness. It's not discouragement. It's just that your body, intuitively, has learned to conserve energy because it knows that your mind is working all the time, even when you seem to be at rest. While others are moving non-stop, you are there, seemingly resting. But inside you are spinning 1,000 possible scenarios. You think about what could go wrong at work tomorrow. Imagine what that difficult conversation that hasn't happened yet will go like. Mentally, simulate people's reactions to a decision you haven't made. All of this consumes real energy, not physical, but mental and emotional. So your body compensates by asking for more quiet moments, more pauses, more silence. This superpower of internal management makes you someone who instinctively knows your own limits. You don't force things. You don't pretend to be okay when you're not. And when you finally act, it's with clarity and precision because your mind has already done all the hard work beforehand. A quiet body isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you're processing the world in a way that demands more from you than people imagine. The way you hold objects for longer periods of time, it's not distraction. It's your brain finishing internal simulations. You pick up your phone to reply to a message and just stand there, holding it for a few extra seconds before typing. Or you hold the pen in your hand without writing anything yet. Or you leave your coffee cup suspended in the air as if you forgot to drink it. From the inside, it's like you're frozen or distracted. But that's not it. You're finishing a mental process that started even before you picked up the object. Your mind was running a simulation. If I answer like this, the person will understand it this way. If I write that, it might sound bad. If I say this now, it might be too soon. So you hold the object, keep the gesture suspended, while internally closing off all the variables. Only after the simulation ends do you finally act, and when you act, it's usually with certainty. This superpower of internal completion makes you someone who rarely acts halfway. You don't do things automatically. Every movement, every word, every decision has gone through a silent check within you. And this time you take isn't slowness, it's precision. It's your way of ensuring that when you finally deliver that answer or take that action, it's already complete, not improvised. If this explanation has made something clearer about your way of being, comment, "Now I understand better." Your participation strengthens this community of self-knowledge. You take so long to reply to messages not because you're uninterested, but because you've already imagined 7 consequences for each word. You receive a message and read it right away, but you don't reply immediately. Sometimes it takes minutes, sometimes hours, sometimes even days, and people might think you forgot, that you don't care, or that you're avoiding them. But the truth is different. You read it, processed it, and now you're thinking not just about what to reply, but about how each word might be interpreted. If I just reply okay, it'll seem like I'm angry. If I use an emoji, it'll sound fake. If I over-explain, it might seem like I'm justifying myself. Your mind tests every possible version of the response, anticipates how the person will receive it, adjusts the tone, chooses the words. All of this happens silently while the message remains there, waiting. This superpower of conscious communication makes you someone who rarely generates misunderstandings when you finally respond, because every word has been carefully chosen. Every comma has an intention. You don't just throw words into the air to fill a void. You wait until you're sure of what you want to say and how you want it to be received. And when you finally send it, it's usually exactly what needed to be said, nothing more, nothing less. The hidden superpower of carrying an entire universe of strategies behind a face that the world read as quiet ultimately. What people call quiet in you is actually a rare kind of presence. You don't need to talk all the time because your mind is already doing work that most people don't even imagine exists. While others react, you anticipate. While others improvise, you've already mentally tested it. While others get lost in chaos, you've already mapped out 3 different exits. This way of functioning may have made you feel different your whole life, like you didn't fit in, like you were too slow or too serious, but that's not it. You just operate at a different frequency, a frequency that sees layers, that connects invisible points, that protect, that anticipates, that resolves before the problem explodes. You are not less, you are profound. This superpower of silent intelligence is one of the most underestimated and, at the same time, one of the most valuable, because in a world that values those who speak the loudest, you are the person who sees the furthest. And perhaps it's time for you to recognize this noasaflo, naughtiness, but genuine strength that has always been there, working silently, waiting to be seen for what it truly is. If you've made it this far and felt that at least some of this behavior describes you, know that you're not alone. This way of functioning, of processing the world in layers, of anticipating before acting, of carrying an entire universe of thoughts behind a calm face is much more common than it seems. It's just not talked about as much because those who live like this usually don't shout about it. They simply live in silence, with all this depth working behind the scenes. And perhaps the greatest revelation isn't understanding that you function this way, but rather accepting that it doesn't need to change. You don't need to be faster, more talkative, or more outgoing. You already possess a rare superpower, the ability to see what others don't see, to predict what others don't imagine, to act with precision while the world acts on impulse. This isn't a flaw. This is emotional and strategic intelligence in its purest form. The world may have called you quiet, but now you know you were never just quiet. Does you also head only silently in your own time. And that always has been, and always will be, a powerful way to be alive. Have you ever noticed this type of behavior in yourself or someone you care about? Share your experience in the comments. Sometimes, just reading similar stories makes us feel much less alone. If you enjoy content that reveals the hidden superpowers in your personality, subscribe to the channel. Here, we look at common daily habits with a deeper and more human perspective.